The best of money matters. Right Business.
Welcome to The Right Business, where we dive deep into the stories of trailblazers who dare to disrupt the status quo, find the gap in the market to find the right business. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jung. It all started with a camera and a YouTube vlogger. What began as a curiosity for raw, authentic storytelling eventually led Nicholas Cheng to build two companies at the intersection of creativity and technology. That early love for storytelling eventually evolved into two ventures, VideoPulse, which helps tech companies tell their stories with clarity and purpose, and Tracework.ai, a GenAI platform that helps teams share and scale what they know. And at the core of both ventures is one simple mission, helping people communicate better, whether through a story or a system. And to share more about how it all came together from storytelling to AI, joining us today is Nicholas Cheng, founder of VideoPulse and Tracework.ai. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Hi, hello, hi Hongbin. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Nick, Casey Neistat was one of your early creative inspirations, someone who made storytelling feel raw, personal, and full of experimentation. What was it about his approach that first got you hooked on videography?
Right, yeah. For some context, right, I've been watching him since he probably started his vlogging days. I think a lot of people know him for doing that daily vlog, and I think he did it like 3 years in a row. Perhaps I start with the story, right? Like, he was given this budget for Nike. You know, we all know the typical Nike ads where, you know, there's the flashy, you know, bouncy shoes here and there. But what he did was start a campaign called Make It Count. So he used the money, and in and of itself, the message of the video is to make the money count. It wasn't a huge budget, right? But he just used the money to travel all over the world and just film himself running, which is the point of Nike as well. It's not about counting the days, but making the days count.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like that meta creativity that he's doing. And that's what really inspired me to start in the video creative world in the first place, which is something that you know, I bring a lot to VideoPulse as well, that I think the reality of the agency and creative world, sometimes you are limited by budget, but it's about kind of being creative, not only on literally what design or logo you make, right? But it's also how you can toy around with the budget and make it work for your client.
Okay, so how did it start from being inspired by Casey to founding your first company, VideoPulse?
Yeah, so for Casey Neistat, I kind of just wanted to be a vlogger like him. I think that was at the start of literally like YouTube, and TikTok wasn't even around. So I just picked up the camera and just did like a few travel vlogs, and my friends kind of liked it. And then from there, did more like B2C style stuff, you know, those like real estate or like filming potato chips, literally. And then from there, I think as part of my profile, like you guys kind of also shared that I went to the NOC program, which is part of NUS Enterprise. And I spent about a bit more than a year in New York and Canada there. And I realized that there's a big gap in storytelling and condensing complex tech stories. And that is what led me to niche down. Because at a point of time doing B2C stuff, it was a bit messy. Like I was doing everything for everyone. But I decided to do one thing for one persona.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how it kind of distilled from that video creation world to something more focused, in this case, VideoPulse.
So I believe VideoPulse has become known as its ability to translate complex technical products into clear, engaging narratives. Explain to us what makes VideoPulse different from, you know, a typical creative studio.
Yeah, so it's very interesting because I was just talking to like one of the marketing team folks about like how we can angle what's that go-to phrase that we call ourselves. And interestingly, we distilled it down to being tech literate.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of think it sums it up because there are kind of 3 categories of videos that we do. And let me know if I'm kind of like over-elaborating a bit. Because in the tech world, it's not always just like, once again, filming Nike shoes or potato chips and just showing the product. But the 3 things we notice is that people want showcase videos for like investor pitches or events, promo videos that go on socials and things like that, and something that's more towards the customer education side, like onboarding videos. So being tech literate, what I mean is we understand what tech companies need. It's not just about showing the product, but understanding what they need and angling what our service is. Technically, we can do anything. We are just Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects pros. But that kind of keeps us focused on what the customer, or in this case, tech clients need. And maybe like a little side note about being tech literate is also just understanding the tech lingo, things like APIs or a bit of the front end code so that we can translate it better on their behalf for their non-technical clients and users.
Very interesting. Well, speaking of clients here, I'm taking a look at your website, VideoPulse, and it's trusted by various global industry leaders, including DocuSign, Samsung, HP, Keppel, SBS Transit, just to name a few. So how did you collab with them, and how did you, get their trust?
Yeah, I think that the most recent project is DocuSign, so I can kind of dive deeper into that. That mainly came around when I was in Toronto and New York. I did a couple of videos for YC companies. I'm not sure, for context, YC is kind of like a global accelerator. And that kind of helped with the network effect. So I kind of gave them discounts so that they can post it on LinkedIn and stuff. And then DocuSign kind of was an inbound lead. I mean, it was through a bigger agency that needed to do their keynote management, and they needed videos for the keynote. So in short, it's kind of just like being okay to exchange a bit of monetary value for publicity, and that's how it came to that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I also want to talk about Tracework.ai, which is a GenAI-powered workflow platform backed by Microsoft GenAI and NUS Enterprise. Now, that's quite a shift from telling stories about products to building tools that help teams communicate within their organizations. I mean, handling one company is already enough for some founders.
Yes.
What led you to find another company? What led to that transition to finding Tracework.ai?
Yeah. It's a bit cliche. In the startup world, we always say try to solve your own problem, scratch your own itch. And that was exactly the case for Trace.
Okay.
Because at the point of time when I was scaling VideoPulse, and we have a team of about 9 now. So I was making a lot of those SOPs and literally taking screenshots of how to use this CRM tool or this go-to-market tool, etc. And I was thinking, what if there's a software that effectively expedites that? Because there are VAs coming in and out, right, as I was experimenting and stuff. Yeah, so from there, I partnered up with someone that I met in NOC. Her name is April Chan. So she is the CTO role. And we kind of just like brainstormed together and we built Trace so that we can help other agencies. But now we realize that it's also applicable to enterprises and anyone who is not wanting to kind of have institutional knowledge just stored and captured in one person, knowing the best practices only.
Okay, so how do those two companies, intersect?
To be honest, there isn't that much of an overlap. So for VideoPulse, it kind of, most of my clients are in the US. And I have 2 project managers based in New York. So they are handling the bulk of the groundwork in a sense. And my office hours locally is on Trace. Perhaps how one has helped the other, because VideoPulse came around a bit earlier and I built a bit of credibility there. It helped to, be able to knock doors to ask people to try our product or try a pilot with us.
Okay, and you've mentioned that Tracework is used for everything from onboarding to customer support. How do you see it changing the way teams share knowledge and work together?
Yeah, so I thought about this a lot because we've been asked about this a lot and I'm trying to condense it. So effectively, we want to help users spread their institutional knowledge. Right? Many a times we have one person who knows the best practice within a company, but we want the best practice to not be the best practice, to be the normal practice. And the friction that people have now, that one knowledge worker that has everything, is that he or she has a lot of friction to document it because the time to document it takes perhaps more time than doing the task itself because you have to take screenshots, etc., like I mentioned. But with Trace, doing the steps and capturing that process is as fast as doing the work. And you don't have to create a sandbox environment just to replicate it. So yeah, that's how we imagine it, where the best practice is the standard practice. And the term SOP kind of like, you don't need an SOP if things are kind of just spread out within an organization just easily, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've always wanted to ask someone who had founded multiple companies, what would you want to be known for, VideoPulse or Tracework.ai?
Oh, I have a fiduciary duty to say Trace, perhaps, because I have a co-founder there. But I think, like, deep inside, I know what... I was reading a book about the zone of genius. I don't know if you heard about it. It's like, what gives you the energy and what you're actually good at. And that's video. Specifically curating stories for, in this case, complex stuff and tech companies. I do want to be known for VideoPulse a bit more. And Trace, we just kind of stumbled on it because we noticed there's a problem and then we realized that people wanted to pay for it as well. But yeah, it's honestly a bit of an internal struggle as well, like in terms of the personal brand. But yeah, I think what I'd like to do and what I feel is perhaps more impactful to a single company is VideoPulse. Trace for sure has that spread. We have like about 1,000 companies using it. but perhaps a few in each company. But I do like to kind of have that one-to-one interaction with the client, understanding, what their purpose is, what's the video they want to produce, and having that interaction.
Yeah.
So in short, I don't think I want to be known. It's not mutually exclusive.
I mean, they're both your babies,
Yeah, it's not mutually exclusive. It's just that I like the interaction that comes with a service-based agency or business.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, apologies for putting you on the spot there.
Great.
But do you have that mental capacity if you see another problem? Because it seems like your personality is like you see a problem, you want to fix it, and you are the one who wants to fix it and come up with a solution. Would you have that mental capacity to create another company if you see a problem?
I've taught myself to not pursue everything. It was definitely messy at the start, just trying to balance different ideas and all. And even within the business units itself. For example, VideoPulse, we are trying to make our own content. But what direction of that? And sometimes it's overwhelming, right? Because there's different formats that we can do. But what I've learned is that the problem here is that I try to over-optimize. I see a problem, I see a need in the market, and then I try to capture it. But if I'm coming from a place more of curiosity, and by the way, I kind of learned this from my therapist, so maybe just trying to normalize it there a bit. If you come from a place of curiosity, it will feel less overwhelming rather than constantly just trying to optimize for finding the next business idea or project.
Definitely. Well, I just want to get your overall take on the industry itself as well. How do you see the relationship between storytelling and technology evolving over the next few years?
One of the kind of pre-questions that you guys sent that I'm going to fall back to is about how AI interfaces with storytelling. And my thought about that is that I think, yes, AI can do a lot of that storytelling and that producing of content. But the premise to AI is that it has to be trained on something. It has to have context. And if I were to coin my own term, the other half of storytelling, which is story listening. And I think what humans can uniquely do, or in this case, being in the creative industry and helping people distill ideas into videos, we are able to see how literally when they raise their eyebrow or they are hesitant to share something about their company when they want to make a video about it. And that's what, ChatGPT and similar tools are not able to do. Sure, you can just vomit your entire life story to it, but it's not going to be able to capture nuance and create that angle for an intended audience, in my opinion.
Definitely. Well, before we let you go here, Nick, what's next for VideoPulse and Tracework.ai? Any exciting directions or developments we should keep an eye on?
Yeah, so for Trace, we are in the midst of getting enterprise certifications. I'm not sure if this is highly applicable to whoever's listening, but we'll be enterprise ready soon because we'll be having some enterprises knock on our door. So that's good news and it's exciting for us at least. And for VideoPulse, we are making our own content. So not sure if you would know. Do you know the Stickum guys by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
We've had them on our show,
Yeah, so we are trying to do very high quality CNBC Make It style content, talking about Singaporean founders and honestly in the same light as me, kind of breaking into the US market and going global because there is CNBC Make It and the likes of them, but who's really covering, Southeast Asia and deep tech here as well. So in short, making our own content and we're really excited for it. Yeah, we
Very
have a
cool.
team working on it as well. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Well, thank you
Sweet.
so much, Nicholas, for joining me today.
All right. Thank you, Hong Bin.
Thank you. That was Nicholas Cheng, founder of VideoPulse and Tracework.ai. This has been The Right Business with me, Hong Bin Jung.
Money FM 89.3